won't stay, but I know you wanna get out of this silhouette town. Oh,
Hello everyone, I'm here with Flaws, aka as well Dan, for a little interview. So first things first, can you tell us about your artist name, if there's any story behind it?
Yes. So my artist name, Flaws, is basically derived from the idea of I like imperfections in music and art in general. And so a synonym for imperfections is flaws, of course. And I use a lot of lo-fi sounds in my music and like analog, vintage sounding stuff because I feel like it adds a lot of character. And I guess that was my original inspiration to start using the name Flaws. And also to me, it always sounded kind of like, even though it's just a word, like a term to describe something, it also to me sounds like a name of a character in a weird way. I don't know if it's just me, but I was looking for a new name a couple years ago, like 5 years ago or something. And when I came up with Flaws, I was like, it clicked, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'll use this name, and it just felt right, so I just went with that.
From then on, yeah.
Yeah.
So was it hard for you to sort of choose an artist name when you came to that process?
I wouldn't say it was hard, but I just knew when I found that name, it just felt right. I used to have, I had 2 different artist names in the past, but I wasn't really that serious about music yet. But those names were both kind of confusing, and people didn't know how to pronounce it. So when I got into music a little bit more serious, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to change my name. Kind of forgot what the question was here.
Yeah, just about your artist name and how you came up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess what I was saying. I used to have 2 other names. But yeah, Flaws just felt right, and it wasn't being used a lot by other people yet.
Yeah.
I can't say it's the same right now, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
that's I guess the backstory about that.
Nice. And what are your musical influences, either with lyrics or music?
Well, I've got a lot of influences, but I'll name some of my biggest inspirations. Artists like Bon Iver, Sufjan Stevens, but those are like indie artists, I guess, or folk artists, but I'm also like a big fan of electronic music as well. So artists like John Hopkins, or let's see, well, I could go on forever, but I would say in general my inspirations range from like indie alternative folky music to more electronic sounding music, and a bit of like lo-fi vibes, I guess, because I wouldn't like say lo-fi hip hop per se, but things like Boards of Canada, I don't know if you're familiar, or a Dutch artist called Spinvis is one of my biggest inspirations ever. He made his debut album on like an Atari computer in his bedroom, and it all sounds very DIY, and you can just hear and feel that it's made all by himself in his bedroom, and it translates into the music, and I really love that. So that's why I also use like cassette recordings and lo-fi elements like that.
Nice. So how would you describe your music?
Well, a word that immediately pops up in my head is melancholy or melancholic, I guess. I always have a little bit of a difficult time when someone asks me, what kind of music do you make? I usually say something along the lines of indie, electronic, but I guess that there's more nuance to that. I would say indie, alternative music that can go into like a melancholic vibe, but it also can go, sometimes it can go a bit deeper, more emotional, even a little bit dark sometimes, or it can go a bit more to the happier side. So I wouldn't like label it as one specific thing, but I guess in short, I would say indie music with a melancholic, lo-fi touch.
Nice. What's your creative process like?
Oh, I'm still kind of figuring that out. Right now it's mostly a lot of struggle, a lot of time, a lot of overthinking. What helps a lot is like sparring and talking about it with artist friends of mine, which helps me kind of get out of my own head, because, you know, it's easy to get caught up into stuff you're making and kind of lose that sense of where do I go now? What does it need? What is it lacking, or something like that? So yeah, I'm basically still figuring that out, but the process is very slow. I usually start off, well, it kind of depends per song, but I kind of start off most of the time just messing around on the computer and kind of jamming, and then something catches on. I just try things, and then something catches my ear, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna build on top of this, and the rest is basically just yeah, I don't know. It's different every time. I wish I was like, I had it like more solidified, I guess, the process, but maybe it's supposed to be this way. Like, you can't really, with art and music, it's not really a process that you can take on that. How do I say this?
Sort of like if you have a template of.
Yeah. It's not like that easy to make something from start to finish. Sometimes it just happens really quickly in a couple of days, and it just flows. Sometimes it takes months.
Yeah.
And that can be frustrating, getting stuck like that. But, you know, in the end, it's about the end result. And sometimes I just need to learn to let go as well, to stop like trying and just embracing the song for what it is, and, you know, keeping that kind of raw feel about it.
So would you say, as an artist, is that the most difficult thing to do when creating a song, is to know when to stop to add things, or like what would be the most difficult part?
Yeah, well,
for you?
That's definitely a very difficult thing. I would say one of the things I struggle with a lot is writing lyrics. Just sometimes it, like I said earlier, sometimes it just comes naturally, and it just flows, or, you know, something eventful happened in my life, and I can just kind of put it on paper. But sometimes I just don't know what to write about, and I'm like, okay, this track needs vocals, but I don't know where to start, or you know. So that's definitely a difficult part. And yeah, like deciding when something is finished. Like, I've been working on a big project lately, the past few months, and I've been going back and forth, you know, being like, okay, this is finished, it's ready to be mastered. And then the following weeks I'll listen to it a couple more times and I'll be like, I'll get cold feet and I'll be like, oh no, I probably need some more work, or I'll need to work on the mix a little bit more. And you know, you get the final V1, final V3, V4 kind of
Ongoing, yeah.
thing. So it's definitely very hard to let go of songs. It's difficult, but it's a learning process.
Even though I'm thinking out loud, I'm quiet on the outside.
So you write all your own songs and produce all of your own songs?
Mostly. I do work with other people, various other producers who sometimes contribute to my songs as well. I sing on other people's songs sometimes, or I co-produce their songs. But mostly it's a one-man project. Yeah, and well, in terms of like engineering, I guess I get my stuff mastered by mostly by the same guy. So I don't really like doing that myself, but I try to mix it myself as well. I get some help with mixing sometimes by the same person, Tim, good friend of mine. But yeah, other than that, I try to do as much myself because I just like doing it as well.
Yeah, of course. I saw that you've done quite a few collaborations and remixes, for example, for San Holo.
Yeah, I did.
How was that? How did it feel to be able to... Because was it like a collaboration or...
Well, back then I was kind of starting out working with the label Bitbird. And I can tell you a little backstory about that because it was founded by two people, Thor and San Holo. San Holo is a Dutch artist who's from Zoetermeer, and that's the city I'm from as well. So we already had kind of a connection there, but it took a little while for him to notice me, I guess, because I used to go to all the label events and stuff, and at some point I got on the same train back home after a Bitbird event, and I just sat with him, and we joke about it sometimes, but he kind of thought like, why is this guy sitting with us? What is he doing? Why doesn't he just leave us alone? You know. But I was kind of starstruck, and I just really wanted to be a part of that community and that label. And yeah, no, at some point my music just got picked up by them. I wouldn't even say because we're from the same city. That's kind of just a coincidence. And yeah, out of the blue, he just DM'd me one day on Instagram and was like, do you want to remix one of my songs? And at this point, I had already released one song with Bitbird, so it wasn't my first interaction with them. But yeah, basically, that's how it went. Yeah. In a very long way of explaining it, I guess. But yeah. Yeah.
How long have you been signed with Bitbird?
Well, I've never been signed actually with Bitbird. I've just had a very close relationship with the label and the people over there.
But are you part of the label, or is it just?
Well, technically, I'm part of the label, but I'm not signed or anything. Like I'm free to. I'm still independent.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess in some way I'll always be working with Bitbird in the future, or at least like in the for the foreseeable future, because I just really love I call a lot of the people in the Pipper team, my friends, and yeah, it's just I've done a lot of stuff with them. They've helped me a lot in my career as well, and I'm super thankful for that. So that's why I just really want to stay close.
Yeah. So yeah, would you want to stay independent or slash stay with an independent label?
Well, right now I really feel like I kind of feel like I want to be independent as an artist right now, but I do recognize that it's in this day and age, it's difficult to, get heard fully independently as an artist. Sometimes you're lucky. I've been lucky in the past as well, with independent releases popping off. But in general, like you can't really go off on luck always, So in some scenarios, it can be very useful to work with a label or a distributor. But I like the feeling of like having no how do you say this?
Restrictions?
Yeah, no restrictions. Like I'm basically free to do whatever I want, to release whatever I want, and I would feel very, I would feel very unfortunate if someone tells me I can't do this or I shouldn't do this or, So in that sense, I really enjoy being independent right now. But then on the other hand, when it comes to marketing things or getting on playlists, that's I don't mind asking help with that or working with other people. So
yeah. So in an ideal world, would be to stick with a label that could help you out for marketing things, but where you could still have your freedom with creativity.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the labels I have worked with have always given me a lot of freedom. You can work with a label, but you can also work with a distributor or a marketing agency. There's a lot of different options there. So I don't know. I don't really know what the ideal scenario is right now. I'm still kind of figuring that out. What the best way is of like releasing my upcoming music. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Nice. If you had to open up a show for anyone, be the support act for an artist, who would be your dream artist to represent?
Good question. Let me think. Well, I would kind of love to just open for friends. So, of course, I don't really have a lot of experience performing at all. So, I wouldn't really say like I want to open for like Coldplay or something. It's
but why not?
Well,
don't be humble. Dream big.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would prefer like opening for friends of mine that are killing it in the music
rather than like
later.
big names. So sort of to stay within.
Yeah, just
like a supportive circle.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of like that. But yeah, if I had to name like one artist that's more out there, I don't know. It's a difficult question. I can't really see myself opening for big artists.
That's all right. You don't need to have.
Maybe one of the artists I named as inspirations, I guess.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Sorry, I lost myself with the questions. Oh yeah. What is your favorite produced song so far?
Of myself?
Yeah. And why?
That's a difficult one because I have a couple of favorites, but for different reasons. So, and like most of those aren't like my biggest songs at all. So that's quite interesting. I guess songs that I have like a bigger personal connection to. So, for example, Maze is a song of mine that never really caught on in terms of like Spotify plays or something. Not that it really matters, but that song is basically just me venting my emotions after going through some struggles in my life. And well, the thing is, it's as an artist or specifically as a producer, it's always sometimes it's a bit difficult to listen to your older music because you're always like, oh, I would have done this differently today, or this could have sounded better, or I could have mixed that differently. So it's hard to kind of shut that off. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard to name favorites for me in like any subject, if it's about music, movies, or my own music, I guess. Because it also just changes from time to time.
Yeah.
And something can there can be like a nostalgic feeling connected to a song that only comes later. You can only like fully appreciate it later, because when you just finished a song and you've worked on it for weeks, months, whatever, you're kind of over it for a bit because you're just exhausted, or I am at least. And then I just have to let go of it for a couple months. And then after that, I can finally, come back to it and listen to it and fully appreciate it. So yeah. I guess I'm kind of rambling on, but...
That's fine.
Yeah.
So you don't have a favorite. You have a few favorites that always change throughout really time and mood.
Yeah. I will say probably the music that I'm working on currently, that's unreleased at the moment. There's some of my favorite music on there, definitely.
Nice.
So I guess I could have said that like in the beginning before before I kind of went off. My favorite music probably right now is the music that I have been working on for my next project.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what are your next projects looking like then? Do you have any upcoming releases for the coming year?
Yeah. Oh, well, I definitely want to get back into releasing music next year, because I've been kind of on the low this year, which was mostly because I have been working on that big project. And so, I'm working on my debut album right now. It still feels weird to say it because in some way it feels like it's never going to be finished. But I'm sure it will, and I will do anything to, get it done at some point. I just really want it to be right, and not rushed.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that lined up for next year. I just hope that I can, keep some consistency next year, and make up for the silence this year. So apart from that, a couple of collabs probably as well. Made a song with a good friend of mine, Tutara Peak from the UK. That'll come out probably in the next couple months as well. So that's kind of what
nice.
I have planned for next year.
Yeah. So
hopefully a fruitful year.
Yeah, hopefully.
But now something else is in control. What could go wrong if I'm all inside my head again? Sometimes my mind is giving me a hard time. so irrational, yeah, I know, but I can't ignore it. I'll think of what could go wrong if I said too much. What could go wrong if that's not.
Where do you find, or how do you find inspiration for your songs?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm like an artist who necessarily always writes a song about a specific life experience or like a specific subject that I have in my head. It's more like I'm kind of more focused on the production side of things, and I usually just mess around with that, and then I try to get like an idea of what the production or the sound of the song, what vibe is it giving me, and I usually try to go off of that. So for example, I create some loops or some guitar harmonies, or some guitar chords, and I'll be like, oh, this kind of sounds nostalgic, or it might sound sad, or it might sound happy, and I'll try to write lyrics based on that
mood.
feeling, so it all kind of feels cohesive. So that would be a point of inspiration for me. Sometimes it is the case that I write a song and I just need to, get something off my chest. And also what really inspires me is just seeing how other producers and artists work, or working together with them. That always fills me with a lot of inspiration, because I tend to, kind of isolate myself and get stuck in my own bubble in that sense. So when you get the chance to get out of that bubble and see see how other people make or produce music, that's always really inspiring to me.
Yeah. Then what would you say is your biggest challenge as an artist when it comes to either producing songs or the release or anything?
Well, I would say right now it's probably just finding the confidence to, be more public and to perform and stuff like that. So that's why I thought this was a great opportunity for me to try that out, for basically the first time. First time being live, I guess. I've always been like super nervous about getting on stage, performing my music. So that's definitely been a big challenge, trying to overcome that. Other than that, a big challenge is just finishing the music and not getting stuck on songs, which still happens all the time, or just not feeling motivated to work on music, or not feeling inspired. It's just that constantly getting stuck, and sometimes not really knowing where to go with a song, even though you really love what's already on paper. That's definitely a big challenge. It's never like, the process for me is never linear, as in I start doing this and then I do this, and then the song is finished. There's always 100 roadblocks. Like, oh, this doesn't sound like the way I want it. A lot of problem solving as well, like, how do I get this to sound the way I want to? What lyrics do I write here? Or I have one verse written, I don't know what to come up with for the second verse. Stuff like that's always a big challenge for me, just trying to keep up that progress. Yeah.
I meant and to know, like, okay, enough overthinking, this is it. I'm not going to change anything.
Sometimes you just need to kind of trust your vision, and stop kind of doubting things. And you can never make everyone happy, because I guess sometimes I'm trying to achieve that, or like trying to make everyone happy, but that's never going to happen, you know. And I guess I've been trying to listen to my own heart more in that sense, and be like, okay, if it feels right for me, even though maybe it doesn't sound super polished or stuff like that, if it feels if it feels good for me and it means something to me, that's probably the most I can do, and the most I can do for other people to resonate with it as well, because I really want that. I really want other people to enjoy the music as well. But then again, you know, I shouldn't try to make everyone happy in that sense, you know?
Yeah, so I guess in that sense, maybe an advice would just be, as long as you're happy yourself with your own project, and then to not think about other people, because then of course it will resonate with a group of people, not everyone, but...
Yeah, totally. And you know, I guess when you try to make music for the masses, which is something that some artists do, and that's totally fine, but I think it depends on the context, you know. And I think if I just make something that's personal and just means a lot to me, it will resonate with other people as well, and I just shouldn't really bother you know, trying to make other people happy who don't enjoy the music at all, because that's, why am I making music, like, in the first place, you know?
Yeah, like we say, you know, fuck the haters, if anything.
F the haters.
What do you think you'd be doing right now if it wasn't for your music career?
Probably something else in arts, videography, graphic design, animation, or like drawing, painting, something like that. I've always been like super interested in all facets of creation and art. I always tell people, if I could, I would do all of it, but it's just, I'm so like hyper fixated on music that I find it difficult to kind of find the time and the headspace to enjoy doing other types of hobbies. But that's something I've been trying to get better at, just trying to keep up multiple hobbies or skills or crafts, instead of, like, you can't spend all your time on one thing, which it used to feel like that. Like, oh, if I just spend all my time on music, it'll work. But it would be a shame if I neglected all my other hobbies, you know, because I used to be, when I was younger, I used to draw a lot, and I whenever I try to pick that up, I just feel a little demotivated, because I guess maybe I have high expectations or something, but I just need to learn to enjoy that stuff more, even if it doesn't have a purpose, you know, to, like my music does have. Like, I can just do it for my own enjoyment. I used to make like little stop motion videos of myself with my friends, and so I would say, long story short, I would say definitely something still in art or something creative, probably that, or something in cinema, like set building, or
Do you make your own artwork, or do you work with other people?
Depends on the release. I've made a couple of artworks myself. I've made let's see, I've made the artworks for my EP Lost in Thought and The Mind's Eye, and I usually try to really push, if I don't make it myself, I really try to get my vision across, because I kind of have, when I make songs, I already kind of have a vision of what the art direction should look like, and that's really important to me, that it just makes sense. And I also feel like if a really good song has not a really good cover artwork, or it just doesn't fit with the song, I feel like that's really a pretty big turn off for me. So yeah, I try to, most of the time I try to, if I don't make it myself entirely, I try to be like the art director of
of what you
things.
want. Of course. If you had to choose one word to describe yourself, what would it be? It's a bit of a hard one.
That's confrontational. Do you have a minute?
Of course, yeah. You can think about it.
Wow. One word.
For example, when you go meet friends, new friends of friends, how would your friends describe you to other friends? Like, oh, this is...
Yeah, well, I could come up with words to describe myself, but if I would have to describe myself with one word, it would have to be like all encompassing or something. So that's difficult, because I would say sometimes people think I'm like a bit quiet or introverted, but I wouldn't describe myself entirely with a word like that. So it's really difficult.
Well,
what would you say?
Well, I don't know.
Now that you've met me
Don't
for-
know you yet well enough. I don't know. Perhaps it is a hard one
It is very
to
difficult.
think of. But it could. We could always come back to that towards the end.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I'll come up with something
Yeah.
later.
Do you have a favorite season?
Probably like autumn, or the end of spring. So it's or end of summer. So it's not like really chokingly hot anymore, but it's still nice outside. But there's like a fresh breeze, so I can wear hoodies outside. But it's not like we're not cold, and you know I like the way the leaves look on the ground if people don't, get rid of them, which I always find kind of strange why people do that. But yeah, I would say autumn.
Autumn.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What's your favorite dish?
Ooh.
Favorite meal, or if you were gonna die tomorrow and you had one last meal before you die,
Yeah.
what would you want to eat?
I would probably go for like a Lebanese, one of those like platters with like 20 different things. So
Nice,
it's a safe answer, I guess,
Yeah.
because it's not like one thing. But I would say like a good vegetarian Lebanese dish, platter dish. So with
Yeah.
some nice
So you can have a
Lebanese
bit of
bread
everything.
and some hummus and some roasted, what's it called? Cauliflower. And just, I'll probably choose that.
You'd be happy
Because
with
I
that,
do Lebanese or, Middle Eastern dishes or cuisine, that's probably my favorite. Lebanese, Turkish, Moroccan,
Yeah. Yeah, they're quite nice cuisines. Yeah.
It is nice.
Do you have a favorite board game?
I don't play a lot of board games, to be honest, but I do kind of like what's it called with the letters?
Oh,
You have to write
Scrabble.
Scrabble, yeah, Scrabble. I like Scrabble, and I like
So Scrabble and crosswords as well. Do you like that?
crosswords,
Yeah.
like
Not as much.
in the magazines. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
they have to guess like
Yeah.
definitions and
well, I mean,
not really. More Scrabble
It's
than
more like it's. I do stuff like that when I need to like kill some time.
Yeah.
You know? When I'm traveling or something, or in the plane or something,
Yeah.
or at the beach. You know, but I would say Scrabble and I don't know if it's internationally known, but Catan.
no clue what that is.
Yeah, so it used to be called Kolonisten van Catan, but apparently they changed it to just Catan because it was, I guess it was offensive.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because it has something to do with colonizers.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it can be
and
offensive for some people.
what's it called? Risk?
Don't know that one. No.
Now I get all the. I was like, oh, what board games do I like? But now they're coming, like the 30 seconds. You have to
that
like
does ring a bell.
give hints, and you have to like you have teams of 2 people, and they have a card with terms and words
yeah,
or names on it, and they have to give hints
hints. Yeah.
to the other one, and
And
they
you
have
have 30
to,
seconds to.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
These
that.
quick games, yeah, they're nice to do. Do you have a favorite lyric from a song?
Of mine, or in general?
In general, yeah.
Ooh. Always when people ask me questions like this, like what's your favorite something, my mind is just blank.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
We could skip that one.
No,
then.
let me take a second to think. Maybe I can. There's a line in a Bon Iver song that I really like. It's not like a super meaningful lyric, but it's just it's kind of unexpected. So the Bon Iver song Restacks. It's like a very emotional folk song, and then at some point it's just there's a black crow sitting across from me. His wiry legs across, and he's dangling my keys. He even fakes a toss. Whatever could it be that has brought me to this loss, I think. But it's just I just get this picture in my mind, like, how did he, is this something that actually happened in his life, or is it just something that he came up with? But just the image of a black crow dangling someone's keys in front of them and faking a toss. Like, how I thought that line was just genius. Yeah. So I'll just, for now, I'll go with that one, I guess.
Could very be possible, though. Crows are very intelligent.
They're very smart.
Yeah, so. Now to fast-paced questions with the this or that. So, sweet or salt?
Salt.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Morning or evening?
Evening, definitely.
Yeah. So, are you a night owl or early bird?
Night owl.
Night owl.
Definitely.
Producing or mixing?
Producing.
Cats or dogs?
That's a difficult one. I'll
You can go
if
with
I had to
both.
choose, I like both for different reasons, I'd say.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, I'll say dogs.
Yeah, I'm team dog as well.
Well, I really like cats as well, so
Yeah.
cat people.
Yeah.
please thank me.
City or countryside?
Ooh. Now this one, oh, these were fast answers.
Yeah.
City.
City.
Yeah, city.
And the last one, North or South Holland?
South Holland.
South Holland.
Yeah.
Nice.
My my birthplace. So
Yeah, so of course you'd go with South, yeah.
and we're still in South Holland right now, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for this interview. I hope
Thank
you
you for
enjoyed
having
it.
Yeah.
And we look forward to hearing you on Thursday
Me too.
and also for all your releases next year and projects and things.
Thank you.
So, yeah. You're
Look
welcome.
forward as well.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.